The quantum processors of the Galactic archives hummed quietly as Senior Archivist ZX427 sorted through another batch of pre-contact data. Their 4 appendages moved gracefully across the holographic interface, filing species documentation with practiced efficiency. After 3 centuries of service, very little surprised the veteran archivist anymore. That changed when they opened File E3447, Earth Biological Database. Computer, verify data integrity of this file, ZX427 commanded, their outer membrane flickering with disbelief. The hanging tentacles that served as their primary sensory organs twisted in confusion as they studied the footage before them. Data integrity confirmed. Source: multiple independent survey vessels. Time period: approximately 200 Earth years pre-contact. The computer responded in its melodious tone. The footage showed a small Earth creature, labeled as Squirrel, leaping between vertical structures called trees. The computer's analysis highlighted the mathematical complexity of each jump, wind speed calculations, trajectory adjustments, and split-second muscle coordination that rivaled advanced targeting systems. Display next entry, ZX427 whispered, their professional detachment crumbling with each new revelation. A creature designated Octopus solved complex mechanical puzzles faster than the archive's best AI systems. The invertebrate not only understood the concept of sealed containers, but demonstrated tool use and planning capabilities that should have been impossible for a non-sentient species. Access database. Earth insects, they commanded next, following a growing suspicion. The screen filled with data about ants constructing living bridges across gaps, coordinating massive colony efforts without centralized control, and lifting many times their body weight. Bees performing complex mathematical calculations to communicate through dance. Spiders producing material stronger than advanced synthetic fibers. Computer, cross-reference with human settlement patterns. The results made ZX427's entire body pulse with excitement. Humans hadn't avoided these creatures. They hadn't tried to eliminate them. Instead, historical records showed humans living alongside them, studying them, and even protecting them. Access classified files. Human technological development. Patterns emerged that no one had noticed before. Human architecture showed inspiration from termite mounds. Their early flying machines mimicked bird wing designs. Their most maneuverable submarines copied fish locomotion. ZX427 spent the next 3 work cycles completely immersed in the data. They found records of humans keeping predators as companions, swimming with enormous marine creatures for recreation, and treating venomous species with casual respect rather than fear. The implications were staggering. Computer, begin new archive entry, ZX427 commanded, their appendages trembling with the magnitude of their discovery. Classification: urgent. Subject: Earth biological analysis. Critical oversight. They paused, choosing their words carefully. This report would shake the foundations of galactic understanding about humanity's rise to the stars. Initial analysis suggests critical error in standard Earth classification. Previous theories focused on human technological development as primary advancement factor. New evidence indicates possible alternative explanation. Earth's remarkable fauna served as evolutionary catalysts and technological inspirations. ZX427 attached selected footage. A human child sleeping peacefully next to a creature called Dog that possessed superior strength, speed, and sensory capabilities. A human diver swimming alongside a massive whale shark without showing any sign of fear. A human researcher calmly collecting venom from one of Earth's most lethal serpents. Recommendation: immediate reassessment of human capabilities based on their biological heritage. Species that evolved alongside such remarkable creatures and learned to cooperate with them rather than fear them may possess capabilities we have not yet recognized. As they transmitted the report, ZX427 knew their discovery would cause a sensation across the galaxy. But something told them they had only scratched the surface of humanity's unique relationship with Earth's extraordinary creatures. The real question wasn't how humans had survived alongside such remarkable beings. It was what that survival had taught them. Maintain distance from the barrier. Lead researcher Keth 989 instructed their team as they approached the transparent force field. Beyond it, an enormous brown-furred creature stood on its hind legs, reaching nearly 4 meters tall. Classification: Ursus arctos. Brown bear, their data pad provided. Capable of running at speeds exceeding 35 kilometers per hour, lifting over 500 kilograms. And a high-pitched sound interrupted their briefing. Keth 989's protective scales bristled as they identified the source. Human children. The young ones pressed their faces against the barrier, pointing and giggling at the massive predator. Incredible, whispered secondary researcher Mile 115, all three eyes wide with astonishment. The juveniles showed no fear response. Their observation was cut short by an even more shocking sight. A human staff member entered the enclosure through a secured doorway, carrying what appeared to be food items. The bear turned its attention to the human, who showed no signs of distress or anxiety. Recording active. Keth 989 confirmed. Central Archives will never believe this without documentation. The research team spent the next several hours moving from exhibit to exhibit, each one challenging their understanding of human-animal relationships more than the last. They watched reptiles capable of delivering lethal bites being handled for medical examinations, massive horned herbivores responding to simple vocal commands, and predatory cats engaging in enrichment activities with their caretakers. Team. Converge at the small mammal section, Keth 989 commanded after receiving an urgent message from their advance scout. They hurried to join their colleague, who stood transfixed before another barrier. Inside, a creature barely larger than their data pad slept peacefully in a beam of sunlight. Its fur shifted with each breath, and its whiskers twitched occasionally in sleep. According to local data, this species is called a house cat, their scout reported. And as the name suggests, humans keep them in their private dwellings. Keth 989's scales changed color in surprise. Elaborate. These creatures possess enhanced night vision, ultrasonic hearing capabilities, reaction speeds that exceed our best military training programs, and retractable claws that can accelerate faster than most projectile weapons. Humans not only allow them in their homes, but seek them out as companions. The team processed this information in stunned silence, broken only by the arrival of a human family. They watched as a small child pressed their hand against the barrier, making soft cooing sounds at the sleeping cat. Update mission parameters, Keth 989 decided. We need to investigate these pets further. Their investigation led them to something called an animal shelter. Inside, they found dozens of creatures, cats, dogs, and various small mammals, all awaiting human adoption. The concept nearly overloaded their cultural translation matrices. Humans actively competed for the privilege of taking these beings into their homes. Observe the canine section, Mile 115 called out. The team watched as humans walked among the enclosures, reaching in to touch creatures that could easily tear them apart. The dogs, despite their impressive capabilities, responded with obvious affection. These beings, Keth 989 noted in their official log, possess strength, speed, and sensory capabilities far beyond human baseline. They can detect changes in human body chemistry, hear frequencies outside human range, and track scents over incredible distances. Yet humans call them good boys and reward them with treats and physical affection. As they prepared to return to their ship, Keth 989 made one final observation. The mystery deepens with each discovery. We assumed humans must possess some advanced form of biological control technology. Now, I suspect we're asking the wrong question. The real mystery isn't how humans control these remarkable creatures. It's why these creatures choose to live alongside humans at all. The implications of that question would echo across the galaxy. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Science Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from 17 species filled the spiral-shaped amphitheater, their murmurs creating a symphony of different tongues as they waited for the emergency session to begin. High Speaker Ven 332 activated the central projection system, and the chamber fell silent. The holographic display showed a human rescue vessel approaching a massive marine creature in distress. "What you are about to witness," Ven 332 announced, their bioluminescent patches pulsing with excitement, was recorded just 3 standard cycles ago off Earth's Pacific coast. The assembled scientists watched as human divers entered the water near the struggling creature, identified as a young humpback whale entangled in synthetic debris. Several sleek, gray forms circled the scene. "Are those?" a Proximan scientist started. "Sharks," Ven 332 confirmed. "Multiple specimens of Carcharhinus carcarius, great white sharks, each capable of exerting bite force exceeding 18,000 newtons." The footage showed the human divers calmly working to free the whale, seemingly unconcerned by the proximity of Earth's most efficient marine predators. One shark passed close enough to touch, yet the humans remained focused on their task. "This is hardly an isolated incident," a new voice announced. Senior Archivist Zix 427 glided into the chamber, their tentacles gracefully manipulating the data stream. "My research has uncovered countless examples of such behavior." The projection shifted to show multiple scenes: humans rehabilitating injured predatory birds, rescuing venomous snakes from urban areas, and guiding lost bears back to their natural habitats. "I have my own evidence to present," announced Ambassador Kyle 775 of the Centaurian delegation. They shared footage from their species' first contact with humanity, which had occurred during a marine biology expedition. The assembled council watched in amazement as human researchers allowed themselves to be approached by curious dolphins, which the humans then engaged in what appeared to be play behavior. The dolphins' sophisticated echolocation and intelligence were well documented, yet humans treated them as friendly companions rather than potential threats. "The Proximan experience was similar," added their chief xenobiologist. "Our initial survey team encountered human children engaging in recreational activity with domesticated canines. These creatures possess combat capabilities that would qualify them as military assets in most civilized systems, yet humans allow them unrestricted access to their young." One by one, representatives came forward with their own observations. A Syrian merchant described watching humans handle spiders capable of killing them with a single bite. A vegan tourist shared footage of humans approaching elephants, beings that could easily crush them, to provide medical care. "We have been operating under a fundamental misunderstanding," Zix 427 concluded, their tentacles weaving patterns of urgency. "Our initial assumptions about humanity's relationship with Earth's fauna were completely backward." The projection displayed a new image: a human child sleeping peacefully, surrounded by various pets, a dog at their feet, a cat curled near their head, and a small bird perched nearby. "We assumed humans must have developed some form of advanced biological control technology," Zix 427 continued. "We thought they must have found a way to suppress or dominate these remarkable creatures. But the evidence suggests something far more extraordinary." The chamber erupted in discussions as the implications became clear. High Speaker Ven 332 had to pulse their bioluminescence at maximum intensity to restore order. "Are you suggesting," they asked, their voice carrying across the chamber, "that Earth's creatures choose to cooperate with humans? That there is no coercion involved?" "Precisely," Zix 427 confirmed. "And if you find that shocking, consider this: what kind of species must humanity be, that the most remarkable beings on their planet choose to live alongside them, not out of fear or compulsion, but out of trust?" The question hung in the air as the Council began to realize they needed to completely reevaluate their understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy. Research specialist Min 556 adjusted their microviewers, focusing on the intricate structure before them. The colony of tiny Earth insects, ants, according to the database, was constructing a bridge using nothing but their own bodies. Remarkable, they whispered, watching as the living architecture took shape. Each individual seems to understand its role in a greater structure without any central coordination. Their research pod, hovering silently above the forest floor, had been monitoring Earth's smallest creatures for the past week. What started as a minor research assignment had quickly evolved into something far more significant. Recording update. Min 556 spoke into their data crystal. Earth date, April 15th. Subject, biomechanical engineering analysis. The pod's sensors tracked as the ant bridge stretched across a gap between leaves, creating a pathway for their nestmates to transport food. The mathematics behind their formation was elegant in its efficiency. Previous assessment requires major revision, they continued. These beings are not simply acting on instinct. They are solving complex structural engineering problems in real time. A gentle chime indicated an incoming transmission from their colleague, Det 223, who was studying another subject several kilometers away. Min, you need to see this. Det 223's excited voice crackled through the comlink. Switching to shared visual feed now. The display split, showing Det 223's observation of a spider constructing its web. The arachnid moved with precise geometry, creating anchor points and support structures that would have required advanced calculations to design artificially. Watch this, Det 223 instructed, overlaying the web's pattern with standard engineering stress analysis. The tension distribution is perfect, not just functional. Perfect. Min 556 was about to respond when their own sensors detected new activity. A group of bees had arrived at a nearby flower patch. The insects began a series of intricate movements that their pod's computer immediately recognized as a form of communication. Their dancing, Min 556 realized, their outer membrane rippling with excitement. But it's not random. Computer, analyze the pattern. The results were staggering. The bees were conveying precise information about distance, direction, and resource quality through their movements. They had developed their own mathematical language. Det, are you seeing these data streams? Min 556 asked, transmitting their findings. These creatures aren't just surviving. They're teaching each other. That's not all, Det 223 replied. Access historical database, human architectural development. The display filled with images, ancient human structures next to termite mounds, early sailing vessels alongside nautilus shells, modern buildings with ventilation systems based on ant colony designs. Humans didn't just observe these creatures, Det 223 said softly. They learned from them. Min 556 expanded their search, finding more examples. Adhesives inspired by gecko feet, water collection systems based on desert beetles, and material science discoveries prompted by butterfly wing structures. New research entry, Min 556 dictated, their voice trembling with the weight of their discovery. Evidence suggests humanity's technological advancement was significantly influenced by their planet's microscopic teachers. They watched as the ant bridge below adjusted its structure to accommodate a change in wind direction. The entire formation shifted with fluid precision, each individual somehow knowing exactly where to move. The implications are profound, they continued. Humans achieved spaceflight not through isolation and conquest, but through observation and adaptation. They saw the genius in Earth's smallest inhabitants and had the wisdom to learn from it. As if to emphasize their point, a small swarm of fireflies emerged in the growing dusk. Their bioluminescent display created patterns that the pod's computer identified as containing mathematical sequences similar to those used in modern quantum communications. Final observation for today. Min 556 recorded, watching the light show with newfound appreciation. We came here expecting to study Earth's creatures as weapons or tools. Instead, we found them to be humanity's first and greatest teachers. Perhaps that is why humans grew to become such remarkable students of the universe. The fireflies continued their dance as darkness fell, their ancient signals lighting the way toward understanding. Field researcher Lix 884 watched through their environmental shield as the human lifeguard calmly waded into the crystalline waters of the Great Barrier Reef. The scanner had detected the presence of Chironex fleckeri, the box jellyfish. Yet the human moved with practiced ease. Subject is now approaching the designated swimming area, Lix 884 noted in their field journal. Behavior indicates awareness of the lethal organism's presence, yet shows no signs of distress. The lifeguard raised a yellow flag, signaling swimmers to exercise caution. Moments later, they began informing the gathered humans about safe swimming zones and jellyfish patterns with the casual tone one might use to discuss the weather. Fascinating, whispered research partner Jin 665, adjusting their sensory inputs. They treat one of the most venomous creatures in their oceans as a manageable environmental factor. Their observation was interrupted by an alert from their land-based team. Priority observation in progress at coordinates 23 south, 133 east. The message read, recommend immediate relocation. Upon arriving at the new location, they found senior researcher Mix 109 documenting a human wildlife management operation. A massive reptile, identified as a saltwater crocodile, had wandered too close to a human settlement. Watch their approach, Mix 109 instructed, indicating the human rangers preparing their equipment. The team observed as the humans methodically worked to relocate the ancient predator, their movements suggesting respect rather than fear. Their procedure is well practiced, Jane 665 noted. They're not attempting to eliminate the threat. They're preserving it while ensuring public safety. The day continued with similar revelations. They recorded footage of park rangers conducting routine checks of spider habitats, making note of funnel web spider territories, with the same professional detachment one might use to catalog weather patterns. Field log update, Lix 884 dictated as they processed their observations. The human approach to dangerous wildlife defies conventional risk assessment models. They have developed protocols that acknowledge the lethal capabilities of these creatures while maintaining a remarkably balanced coexistence. Their next stop brought them to a beachside community, where a local resident was giving what humans called a safety talk to visitors. The casual manner in which they described avoiding blue-ringed octopi and recognizing shark breeding grounds struck the research team as extraordinary. Notice the language patterns, Jane 665 pointed out. They don't speak of these creatures with fear or hatred. There's an underlying tone of respect, almost admiration. The conversation was interrupted by an emergency alert. A young eastern brown snake, one of Earth's most venomous reptiles, had found its way into a human dwelling. The research team rushed to observe the response. What they witnessed challenged everything they thought they knew about human-wildlife interaction. A local snake handler arrived, and with careful precision, safely captured and relocated the deadly creature. The human residents showed concern not just for their own safety, but for the welfare of the snake itself. Final analysis for today. Lix 884 recorded, their voice carrying a note of wonder. We came to Australia expecting to find humanity's ultimate testing ground, a continent where they had mastered control over the world's most lethal creatures. Instead, we found something far more remarkable. They watched as the snake handler released the eastern brown snake into a safe location, taking time to educate nearby humans about the species' importance to the ecosystem. These humans haven't conquered their environment, Lix 884 continued. They've achieved something far more impressive. They've learned to read it, respect it, and live in harmony with it. Their mastery isn't about control, it's about understanding. As the sun set over the Australian outback, the research team prepared their report for the Galactic Archives. Their conclusion was unanimous. Humanity's relationship with Earth's most dangerous creatures wasn't a story of dominance, but one of remarkable adaptation and mutual respect. Senior archivist Zix 427 stood motionless before the quantum storage vault, their sensory tentacles extended in concentration. After 3 weeks of searching through the deepest layers of the Galactic Archives, they had finally found it, the lost records of humanity's early development. Security clearance accepted. The Vault's AI announced. Accessing Earth Historical Database. Pre-industrial period. The holographic display illuminated the chamber with scenes from humanity's past. Zix 427 watched, transfixed, as the first images played out before them. Begin analysis, they commanded. Focus. Human-animal interaction patterns through history. The earliest footage showed human hunters tracking large prey across vast grasslands. They moved with incredible endurance, following their quarry not through superior speed or strength, but through sheer persistence. Remarkable. Zix 427 noted in their research log. They learned persistence hunting by observing wolves. The humans adapted the technique to their own capabilities. The next sequence revealed early human settlements. The Archive's enhancement algorithms brought the ancient scenes into sharp focus, showing humans studying animal behaviors intently. They watched birds to predict weather patterns, learned from beavers about water management, and observed bears to find the best fishing spots. Cross-reference. Early domestication patterns, Zix 427 instructed. The display shifted to show humans approaching wolf packs. Not with weapons drawn, but with offerings of food. Over generations, the wolves that chose to stay near human camps gradually changed, becoming the first dogs. Computer. Analyzed genetic markers in this sequence. The results confirmed what Zix 427 had suspected. The change hadn't been forced. It had been a partnership. The wolves that became dogs gained reliable food sources and protection, while humans gained loyal companions with superior senses and hunting abilities. Display. Early agricultural development. Scenes showed humans watching how certain birds and mammals selected seeds, learning which plants were safe to eat. They studied how animals stored food for winter, leading to the development of preservation techniques. Accessing restricted files. Human military history. The footage revealed something unexpected. Humans hadn't just learned combat from predators, they had learned strategy from prey species. Defensive formations mimicked herd behaviors. Surveillance techniques borrowed from prey animals' awareness systems. Even modern combat doctrines showed traces of these ancient lessons. Begin new archive entry, Zix 427 commanded, their tentacles weaving patterns of excitement. Subject. Evolutionary symbiosis analysis. They paused, considering their words carefully. This report would fundamentally change the galaxy's understanding of human development. The evidence suggests that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't taming Earth's creatures. It was learning from them. Each major advancement in human history shows clear influence from their observation of Earth's fauna. The display showed scenes of early humans treating injuries using methods clearly inspired by animal behaviors. They had learned waterproofing from ducks, insulation from bears, and navigation from migratory birds. Their tool use didn't develop in isolation. Zix 427 continued. They watched otters use stones to crack shells, primates fashion sticks into probes, and elephants create water-finding tools. Humans didn't invent these concepts. They improved upon lessons nature had already perfected. The final sequence showed early humans facing predators. Instead of running or fighting blindly, they demonstrated unexpected behavior. They studied the predators, learned their patterns, and eventually developed ways to coexist with them. Conclusion. Zix 427 recorded, their voice carrying the weight of discovery. Humanity's rise wasn't a simple story of species dominance. It was an unprecedented example of evolutionary partnership. Every creature that challenged them became a teacher. Every survival pressure became a lesson. As they sealed the report for transmission to the Science Council, Zix 427 added one final note. Perhaps this explains humanity's remarkable adaptability. They didn't just survive Earth's evolutionary crucible, they learned from every species that shared it with them. In doing so, they became something entirely unique, a species that carries the accumulated wisdom of an entire planet's evolution. The observation platform hung silently above the African savanna, its cloaking field ensuring the researchers wouldn't disturb the scene unfolding below. Lead observer Rix 775 watched through enhanced optical sensors as a human conservation team approached a sedated rhinoceros. Recording commenced. Their assistant, Pile 332, confirmed. Subject species, Ceratotherium simum, white rhinoceros. Status, critically endangered. The human team moved with practiced efficiency, checking the massive creature's vital signs and attaching a tracking device to monitor its movements. Their touches were gentle, their movements careful despite the rhinoceros weighing over 2,000 kilograms. Note the protective behaviors, Rix 775 commented. They're not just handling the creature, they're actively working to preserve it. Their observation was interrupted by an incoming transmission from another research team stationed near the coast. The holographic display showed humans in diving gear surrounding a massive fishing net that had entangled several sea turtles. They're risking their safety to free them, Pile 332 observed, watching as the human divers carefully cut away the netting. These creatures aren't even part of their food chain, yet they're expending significant resources to protect them. The day's observations continued to challenge their previous assumptions. They recorded footage of humans running wildlife rehabilitation centers, treating injured predators with the same care they showed to more docile species. Each case demonstrated not dominance over Earth's creatures, but a deep commitment to their welfare. Access the latest reports from the Rainforest Observation Post, Rix 775 instructed. The display filled with new images, humans creating wildlife corridors to protect migration patterns, establishing sanctuaries for endangered species, and developing breeding programs to prevent extinctions. They watched as human researchers tracked animal populations, collected data, and worked tirelessly to understand and protect Earth's biodiversity. Cross-reference with historical records, Rix 775 commanded. Show me the progression. The evidence was clear. As humans had advanced technologically, they hadn't abandoned their relationship with Earth's creatures. Instead, they had taken on an even greater role in protecting them. Incoming priority message from the Marine Research Division, Pile 332 announced. The new footage showed human marine biologists working alongside dolphins to track changes in ocean ecosystems. The dolphins weren't trained performers. They were willing participants in scientific research, choosing to help humans understand their changing environment. Begin final analysis for today. Rix 775 dictated, their voice carrying a note of revelation. Our initial assessment of humanity's relationship with Earth's creatures was fundamentally flawed. We searched for weapons and found guardians instead. They watched as the conservation team below finished their work with the rhinoceros, staying nearby until the creature safely regained consciousness. The humans have assumed a role unprecedented in galactic history, they continued. They've become protectors of their world's biodiversity, working to preserve not just the species useful to them, but all creatures that share their planet. A new alert drew their attention to a remote location where humans were releasing rehabilitated predators back into the wild. The care they took, the resources they dedicated, and the risks they accepted spoke of something deeper than simple environmental management. The evidence suggests, Rix 775 concluded, that humanity's greatest achievement isn't their technology or their adaptability. It's their choice to use their capabilities not to dominate Earth's creatures, but to protect them. As the sun set over the savanna, they added one final note to their report. Perhaps this is why Earth's creatures accept human presence so readily. They haven't submitted to human control. They've recognized humans as beings worthy of trust. In choosing to become guardians rather than conquerors, humans have earned something far more valuable than dominion over Earth's creatures. They've earned their loyalty. The rhinoceros below had fully awakened now, rising majestically to its feet. The human team watched from a safe distance, their faces showing not fear or triumph, but genuine joy at the creature's recovery. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Federation had never hosted so many species at once. Representatives from every member civilization filled the spiraling tiers, their attention focused on the central presentation platform, where Senior Archivist ZX427 prepared to deliver their final report. Distinguished members of the Federation. They began, their tentacles moving in formal patterns. Our 6-month investigation into Earth's biological capabilities has reached its conclusion. Our findings will fundamentally change how we view humanity's place in the galaxy. The massive display behind them showed a montage of their discoveries. Humans working alongside creatures that should have been impossibly dangerous, Earth's smallest beings demonstrating extraordinary capabilities, and countless examples of cooperation between species. We began this investigation believing we would uncover humanity's methods of controlling Earth's remarkable fauna. ZX427 continued. Instead, we discovered something far more significant. The display shifted to show scenes from various Earth habitats. In each one, humans worked to preserve and protect the creatures around them, from the smallest insects to the largest mammals. Lead researcher Keth 989 stepped forward to present their field observations. The human approach to wildlife rehabilitation has applications far beyond Earth, they announced. Already, 3 Federation worlds have requested human assistance in preserving their own endangered species. The assembly murmured with interest as Keth 989 displayed the preliminary results. On a desert world, human conservationists had helped save a species of crystalline creatures from extinction. In the methane seas of another planet, human diving techniques had revolutionized the study of deep-dwelling sentience. Their experience in working with Earth's diverse species, Keth 989 explained, has given humans unique insights into interspecies cooperation. They approach each new creature not as a subject to be controlled, but as a being to be understood. Research specialist Min 556 presented their findings next, focusing on humanity's ability to learn from other species. Their architectural designs, inspired by Earth's insects, have already improved the efficiency of our space habitats by 30%, they reported. Their understanding of animal navigation has enhanced our deep space guidance systems. The evidence continued to mount as each researcher presented their conclusions. Humans had been invited to help establish wildlife preserves on dozens of worlds. Their techniques for animal rehabilitation were being studied and adapted across the galaxy. Their insights into interspecies communication had opened new possibilities in xenobiology. But perhaps most remarkable, ZX427 resumed, is what this reveals about humanity itself. Their relationship with Earth's creatures didn't make them strong, it made them wise. The display showed a final series of images. Human children learning gentleness from handling small animals, researchers showing patience in studying wildlife behaviors, and conservationists demonstrating dedication in protecting endangered species. We propose, ZX427 announced, a complete reclassification of humanity in our records. They are not merely another spacefaring species. They are not simply clever tool users or adaptable survivors. The assembly waited in respectful silence as ZX427 activated the final holographic display. It showed a human wildlife veterinarian tending to an injured predator, demonstrating both technical skill and genuine compassion. Humanity represents something unprecedented in our galaxy, a species that achieved dominance on their world not through conquest, but through understanding, not through control, but through cooperation, not through force, but through earning the trust of the remarkable beings that share their planet. As the presentation concluded, the assembly erupted in discussion. Plans were already being made to establish interplanetary wildlife preserves under human guidance. Research teams were being assembled to study Earth's conservation methods. Cultural exchange programs were being designed to help other species understand the human perspective on wildlife. Final entry for the Galactic Archives, Zix 427, recorded as the assembly dispersed. Humanity's greatest weapons were never their technology, their adaptability, or even their resilience. Their true strength lies in their capacity to look at the most remarkable creatures in existence and see not servants or weapons, but fellow travelers on the grand journey of life. In teaching us this lesson, they have given the galaxy an invaluable gift, a new way of seeing ourselves and all the beings with whom we share the cosmos.